So talking about jiu-jitsu and failing, right? Like, you know, I can think about how many times I've tapped out, you know, over the years, right? And so how many times have you tapped out?
So many.
You can't count.
So I can't even count. I just had this conversation with somebody, a woman I do private lessons with, white belt, and she wants to get into competing, but she's scared to lose. And she's like, I don't want to do it because I don't want to lose. And I'm like, okay, where was I when I was a white belt? You know, yeah, of course, like I'm scared to lose. That's definitely a real thing. But after losing so many times, like I almost, not that I enjoy losing. Losing's never easy.
Right.
However, every time you lose, you learn so much. So if you can shift your mindset onto that, you know, every time you lose, you're gaining a lesson. So I tell like my kids, I tell my white belts, even more experienced competitors, like when you look at tournaments, look at it like every single tournament you go to is going to provide you with a gift. And the gift is the lesson. And you get to choose whether you're going to take the lesson or not. You know, you're going to take the gift or not. So
your perception of what happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, I lose all the time. You know, I win some, I lose more than I win. But it just develops my skill and me as a person. Yeah.
You get good. You've gotten good.
Yeah.
Because of all the times you lost.
Yeah. Like some of my best attacks, like, have come from my losses. So you remember when you were coaching me, this was the end of 2020, Jiu-Jitsu Con 2020, brown belt.
Okay.
I went to the Nogi division and the girl got me caught in a triangle. And then I'm like, you know, I've been caught in my fair share of triangles before in tournaments. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to tough this out. And as soon as she got the triangle, she went for like Americana, like within the triangle and just ripped a crud out of my elbow.
Twisted it.
Yeah. And twisted it back. And took me a while to recover from that injury, but now that's one of my favorite attacks. So I lost that way at Jiu-Jitsu Con in November, and then
you learned from
I learned from it, and then when I did it, I did that in Austin, Texas in January of last year, and I did it at New Orleans, and I did it in my first round because I lost the second round. I did it in the first round at the San Diego Open. So like, I've used that loss for 3 wins in my own matches. So you can always gain from losing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I would not get stuck on like the losing, like it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing.
Yeah.
We all have to lose, and that's part of the process, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I just always feel like being a teacher and being an instructor and surrounded by so many people, kids and adults, like, you know, they're all going to lose. And I feel like with all of my losses, it just helps me help them, you know, like when after a loss, whatever it might be, I go back into my little like library of losses, and there's usually one that I can pull out for them and tell them a story that it like relates to, like you've done to me, you know, like I remember you told me that tournament that you were like sick and throwing up and fighting and throwing up, you had the flu. And then remember you told me that when I came back, it was blue belt, and I came back and I just competed in the Philippines. Won in the Philippines, came back.
That's a good story. I've used it on a few people.
It's such a good story, though.
Okay, all right, let's go.
If you can fight and puke with the stomach flu, like that's what I did when I came back.
And win, right?
And win. That's what I did from the Philippines. I came back and I drank the water in the Philippines. So I was so sick. Came back, fought 2 days after I landed from the Philippines at the LA Open, and I was sicker than a dog. Like same story, like just so sick, throwing up, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it. And then I just remember your story, and I'm like,
what do you want? Tell the story. So
your story?
Listening. Yeah.
So your story is you had this tournament.
For tournament.
And you had this, like, you had food poisoning or stomach flu or something. And same thing, like you went and if I remember correctly, you went and you like fought, and then you were throwing up and you lost.
In my division.
In your division. And then you were like, screw that. And you were sick all day.
I was out of town,
You were out of town.
I couldn't drink, I couldn't eat.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything, but you stayed for open class.
Right.
Sick.
And I threw up after that thing. I actually threw up, and I wasn't sure. I wasn't feeling good, but then I went out, and then I did my division, and the guy threw his weight on my stomach. I was like, oh my God. I didn't throw up on the mat during the match, but I lost the match, and then I threw up after the match. And then I even got like, the guy choked me out because I was so out of it. But he was like, you ready to go? And I was like, white. I was like, okay. But I qualified because I got a bronze because there was only a certain amount of people in the division for the open weight. And the first guy I went against, we became friends. And he's like, you going to do the open weight? I'm I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I was super bummed. I was super bummed. I was like, feeling like crap. I couldn't drink. I couldn't drink like I hadn't like water, eat like the night before too. And then I was like, maybe you feel better later. And I was like, I thought about it because I was in Spain. And so I was like, man, do I go to the hotel and feel sorry for myself there? Or I'm already here. Might as well just feel like crap here.
Yeah.